Today we begin a 23-week period of learning what it is to be a Christian. Months and months ago in Advent, we began to hear every Sunday the life of Jesus, his birth, his ministry, his torture and death, his conquest of death, his return to the Father, and his sending of the Spirit, all the things that God did for us through Jesus of Nazareth. But today, we begin to hear for the next 23 Sundays what God wants us to do through Jesus of Nazareth. It is the time of year when we begin to think about and re-examine how we are to be the bearers of the good news, to be disciples. Unfortunately, when we read these gospel narratives, we're always hearing about the 12 apostles. But don't forget, the 12 apostles at this point of history were the whole church. Except for those few women, you never hear about them except occasionally a small band of women who accompanied the apostles as they spread the good news. But these men and women were the entire church. What we have to remember is what Jesus is instructing them to do is exactly what he's instructing us to do in our own day, even though there are billions of disciples today. And our main task is to carry the good news of Jesus to the world, not by preaching, but by being like Christ in our world, by imitating Jesus, who is the visible manifestation of his Father to us. In the book of Genesis, the first sin was Adam wanted to be like God. If you eat this tree, you will be like God. And that's exactly what God wants us to do. He wants us to be like him, to be forgiving, caring for other people, being interested in others rather than ourselves. So be prepared now for the next 23 weeks to go back to school, as it were, and to learn again what it means to be a disciple. The 12 apostles and the accompanying women, that small group of people, were the only church as we read these Gospels. We now are the entire church. So in a way, what begins today is Christianity 101. First class, until December, when we again begin to meditate on the very life of Jesus, which we are now called to replicate in our time.